Hey there, and welcome to the B2B Content Show, a podcast about the how, what, and why of B2B content marketing. I'm Jeremy Shear, and my guest is Mary Gilbert, CMO at Folloze, a B2B buyer experience platform. Hey, Mary, it's great to have you on the show.
Hey, Jeremy. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
You are very welcome. In a second, we're going to dive into our topic, which is the role of the buyer experience in helping marketing teams create really good content. But before we do that, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us kind of the elevator pitch version of, who you are, what you're all about, a little bit about your background.
All right. Well, so I kind of am an accidental marketer. I graduated with a degree in music and a minor in English, but in college, I discovered I was more interested in business and publishing than being a performer. And I was in California and I was hearing about this tech industry thing. So I thought, I should check it out. So I took a temp job at Mac User Magazine in the marketing department. And that was really the start of the digital transformation age of marketing.
Mm,
And I've always kind of stumbled into the front lines of revolutions. And in those early days, I got a chance to work on marketing digital transformation for companies like Cisco and Microsoft and eBay Enterprise. And so I just, kept falling into these really interesting changes. And as ABM started to emerge, I worked on some of the earliest build outs of ABM operations for a host of tech scale ups. Um,
hmm
like many B2B marketers, I was always looking for a way to provide that kind of wow experience for buyers across a widely distributed journey. And I tried a host of things like rogue landing pages, email, and all that. When I discovered Folloze, it was like kind of this dream come true. We're on the cutting edge of this B2B buyer experience revolution. And that's just getting started. And it's just a really, really interesting place to be. And so, I've just kind of like explored my way into this space.
Okay, very cool. Sounds like you found the right space for what you're good at and
Yeah.
what you're interested in. So,
Yeah. Follow
okay,
your heart.
well, thanks for that background. And let's just dive right into our topic. So, the role of the buyer experience in content strategy and content marketing strategy. So let's just start right there very broadly. Uh, what is the role of the buyer experience when it comes to producing great content?
Well, so this is a really interesting emerging question because if you really want the most bang for your buck from your content engine, you kind of need an experience engine, yet experience engines are just kind of getting started. So what experience engines do is they power the buyer journey, and they're based on this notion of behavioral data. And this gives marketing and selling teams kind of a way to know where a buyer is in their journey and to deliver an experience that is connected and personalized and engaging. Like, there's these distributed marketers out there that are doing this, right? And they're trying to kind of cobble it together. The behavioral data, though, from the experience engine becomes a critical piece of data for the content engine. Content engines of, the concept has been around for a while, but the experience engine is what's kind of new and disrupting that
Hmm
space a little bit. So the content engine really combines persona, account data, opportunity stage, and behavior insights to deliver the best content based on the buyer stage and behavior. So it basically takes all that guesswork out of content strategy and delivery. So
Okay.
in my experience, this is really an incredibly efficient and effective way to execute full funnel demand gen and ABM at scale.
hmm can you give us some examples of what that looks like in practice as you guys do it?
Okay, so in practice, there's this whole notion of the frontline marketer now. I don't, some B2B marketing companies are embracing it, others are, you know, not as focused on it right now, but it's happening, and especially on ABM teams and field marketing teams where you've got these marketing people working with sales to create these experiences for customers, for buyers in the moment. And how do they know what that buyer has already experienced, where they are in their journey, what they're actually doing, and how do they actually create something on the fly that's engaging and relevant? So, what that experience engine is really designed to do is give them a tool that allows them to create, to know where that customer is, know what they're interested in, know what they've been doing, and create a really exceptional experience, whether it be a landing page or an event resource or an event page or a partner portal, but to be able to really be efficient and effective and not have to stand in line with the web team or the digital marketing team to get their content executed.
Hmm. So where would you say are people consuming content that's maybe being sort of underutilized a little bit in terms of gathering the kind of data we're talking about?
So this is a great question. So top-down marketing organizations have been really relying on these top of funnel tactics for years, and they rely on their website as the primary engagement point. So much people are still so dependent on that website. But the reality is that 90% of digital content is delivered outside of the website. So think of things like customer marketing, ABM campaigns, deal rooms, executive communications, personalized demand generation. Often these are delivered through digital systems that are not feeding insights back to the content engine because people are making do, right? Like the WordPress sites, Webflow sites, all of that. So 90% of that data that you could be using to inform your content strategy to make your programs more efficient and effective, it's getting lost. And at really critical points of the customer journey. And those critical points are much closer to the transaction point or the renewal point or the expansion point. And so, where most of the important aspects of your strategy are taking place, you can't track it, you're not in control of it, you can't do anything about it or learn from it.
Hmm. What would you say are some of the biggest mistakes that you see marketers making when it comes to tracking, buyer experience and then using that information?
Well, I'd say it's not necessarily a mistake, but I think it's more of a misunderstanding. So
Mm,
um, we've got great tools out there with demand base and Sixth Sense, and these intent engines that really track the buyers through their journey. But there's no way to act on those. So you can't. They're not tied to an experience. But when
mm,
you tie them to an experience engine, all of a sudden you got this really powerful tool that a marketer who's probably supporting a sales team can actually see and act on where that buyer is and go collaborate with their salespeople on, hey, look what I just did. Look what they just engaged with. Now strike or now reach out. And then, somebody else in the organization who also has access to the Sixth Sense or demand-based data also has access to an experience tool and can go, hey, my, friend over here in marketing just handled this aspect of the journey and did this. It's time for this. And I'm going to do my bit right now. And
hmm.
so it's more of a hey, we're still missing that piece, and where we see the most adoption of the Folloze platform is companies who have really committed to Sixth Sense and demand base and still struggling to deliver that experience and that orchestration across their teams and engage those buyers through the process in a much more effective way.
Yeah. Okay. So what would be your advice to marketing teams that, recognize the value of what you're talking about and doing a better job with, developing that experience engine or extracting data from it to influence their content marketing? If you're not already doing that or doing it well, like what do you need to do to take steps to get there?
Well, it's really an evolution. And we see so many of our customers at these sort of different stages of content maturity as well as experience maturity. So let's take a customer that has a fairly mature experience engine, and that's Folloze. And they're running really effective campaigns. Their biggest challenge has been getting the content they need to deliver at those different stages. Their content team is running more of a kind of a curated content process. So, they don't necessarily know exactly what to create. So, what our client at Confluent has done is built a relationship with their content team and sharing that data and doing planning on a monthly and a quarterly basis to say, hey, here's the actual behavioral data that shows which of the content pieces that you're giving me are really truly engaging customers. Can I get more of that? And this other stuff is really not working so well. So I'd say start the relationship across the teams first, because it takes an awful long time to get to the level of sophistication of, machine controlled content and the integration of the two systems. So do it on paper, do it in relationship before you try to automate it. And then eventually you can make joint decisions on the kinds of systems you need to connect to make this, a really efficient and effective engine. But most companies are still developing their
Mhm.
level of sophistication there.
Well, great advice, great insights all around. So, Mary, thank you so much for your time and for a really engaging conversation.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.